good morning, Dominica, and welcome to this another edition of the Cooperative Voice. I'm your host, Phoenix Belfield, and it's a great pleasure to be here on another edition of the Cooperative Voice. Thank you for all the folks who have joined in on the broadcast this morning. It's a beautiful morning. It's a beautiful Tuesday as always, and we have with us the company of Q95 Radio. We're also live on Emo News, and we're also live on all of the Facebook pages of the credit union. It's a big shout out to the folks of the credit union movement for logging in and for supporting. This program is brought to you with the kind compliments of the Dominica Cooperative Societies League Limited in collaboration with the credit union movement of Dominica and Mlaja Mobile Wallet. In today's program, we'll be speaking, well, in one part, the one edition of this short program, we'll be speaking to an excited merchant. We'll be talking to Kendall Francois from Fires Fragrance, and he's one of our featured merchants on this morning's program. And then after, when we take the break, we'll be speaking a little bit about compliance, because everybody has been asking about, this whole thing about compliance. Everybody wants to know everything about me, my power, my nene. What is this thing about compliance? All of a sudden, we have a whole lot of things to declare and all of that. So I will attempt to decipher and discombobulate this whole compliance thing, and then give you it in some bite-sized pieces. If time doesn't permit, we will continue the broadcast next week and get you there. Because why? In August, Dominica is going to be peer reviewed under the FATF, which is the Financial Action Task Force, and we want to ensure that our jurisdiction is ready. And in order to be ready, not only the credit union movement and the other financial institution needs to be ready, but we need to help our members understand the need for us to remain a compliant jurisdiction, for us to have all of these requirements that we are asking our members to provide for us. Okay, so we'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll be speaking a little bit more about that. All right, so don't touch that dial. We'll be right back in a few seconds.
L'argent, send me money. Send me money. Receive money. Receive money. Send me money. No more hassle. M l'argent, send me money. Send me money. Receive money. Receive money. M l'argent, it's safe and secure. M l'argent. You want to send your money to friends and family. No more standing in line. M-L'argent. It's a new digital financial service brought to you by the Dominica Credit Union Movement. Introduces a new wallet solution, M-L'argent. Top up friends, pay bills, make shopping easy, extra secure. Sign up is absolutely free. M-L'argent. You want to send your money to friends and family. No more standing in line. No more M-L'argent. Download the M-L'argent app today. See your credit union for more details. M-L'argent, your mobile payment solution. M-L'argent.
All right, again, welcome to this another edition of the Cooperative Voice program. I'm your host, Phoenix Belfield, and I'm really excited here because today we have one of our featured merchant.
Getting a lag.
From Fires Fragrance. We have Mr. Kendall Francois. Kendall Francois, good morning. Can you hear us?
Good day.
Okay, wonderful.
The audio is dragging. I don't know why.
Okay, we'll get there. Well, we're happy to have you on the program, and really exciting stuff.
I can't hear anything.
You're not hearing. Okay, but we are hearing you loud and clear. I'm not
audio
sure.
is dragging, Phoenix.
Okay.
But anyway, I hope you can. I'm not sure what the issue is. There's a technical issue, so I can't hear clearly. My name is Kendall Francois, and I represent Fires Fragrance Plus. If you can hear me clearly, then that'll be excellent. But my name is Kendall Francois. I represent Fires Fragrance Plus. The idea of my business basically is to provide my customers with the best scents that comes out of the Middle East and the United States. I also specialize in other things like I sell soaps. So if you're looking for a soap for for that healthy skin, that sheen on your skin, if you're looking for that soap to detoxify, remove acne and whatnot, I have a lot of soaps. I also specialize in toothpaste, so you could get your neem toothpaste, your charcoal toothpaste, your herbal toothpaste, whatever you're looking for. Anything to smell good, to look good, to feel good, or better yet, I say, to look great, smell great, feel great. You could get that from me.
And that is why we call you Mr. Fragrance, because Kendall has some of the best fragrance. He's located close to Digicel in downtown Roseau, and he's one of our featured
I
merchant on this program, edition of the Cooperative Voice program. We're having a little technical difficulties. I'm not sure why he's unable to hear us with much clarity. But Kendall, if you're still there, you can continue. Tell us about how customers can reach you.
I didn't get that. There's a lag in the audio.
Okay, we're having a little difficulty with Kendall. We'll try to get him back a little later. We'll try to get him back a little later in the program, and just to get his perspective. But Kendall Francois, he's Mr. Fire's Fragrance. He's located on the just on the same side of I think One Step Connection, and he does the can you hear us? Okay, he's having some difficulty. We're going to move along. So yes, so today we were talking. We spoke with Kendall Francois from Fire's Fragrance. He's the Mr. Fragrance guy that sells close to Digicel there in downtown, and he's one of our Emergent featured merchants today. Sorry about the technical difficulty that we're having and that we're unable to bring his interview proper, but we'll promise to having in a subsequent broadcast. But one of the things that we have been talking about, and a lot of persons have been asking us about, is this whole thing of KYC compliance. Because, for example, if you have to register an MLAJA as a merchant, you have to provide some information for the KYC. So you have to provide proof of address, government ID, certificate of registration, if you're a company, articles of incorporation, and then you have to provide a local phone number and IDs and so forth. And people have been asking about, listen, what is it about this whole compliance thing that really makes it difficult for us to understand? Because back in the days, we didn't have to provide all of this document. We didn't have to do all of this due diligence. Why is it now? So today we wanted to give you a little introduction as to why is it necessary. And so today's program we're talking about compliance explained, and there are two particular aspects of compliance that we want to touch on. We're first going to touch on KYC, and then in a later edition of the program we'll talk about the whole aspect of AML. And this is why it's even so important, because we've been asking ourselves, why is it what is KYC? And not to be confused with Kentucky Fried Chicken, the crispy wings that you get on in Roseau. This is KYC. This is KYC. Know your customer. And a lot of persons have been asking us, why is it that we have to credit unions and other financial institutions have to abide by the KYC? And we're saying that, listen, KYC has become so important as of late because it's one of the areas in which financial laws are enacted to protect the financial system. And what they want to know is that by using compliance and KYC regulations, they can keep money laundering and terrorism financing and those things at bay. And so, what they're asking us to do as part of our KYC mandate is to be able to verify a customer's identity, or in our case, as credit union, a member's identity. They're asking you to verify that member's identity and their intentions at the time of opening the account at the credit union, or understanding the transaction patterns. What are you doing? All of a sudden there's a jump in your deposits and so forth. What is the reason for that? And so financial institutions are asked to accurately um, measure and report and monitor the activities, or for example any suspicious activities that are happening in during the transaction cycle of a membership. Now the question you might ask is, why is it important? And for us it's important because financial institutions have to conduct what you call a standard due diligence process. They want to know with whom they're doing business. So it's not just to be anonymous and do business at a credit union or another financial institutions. We are now required to provide some critical information to the regulators, or provide and retain critical information about the persons who are doing business with us. So you might be asked to provide an ID, a verification card, You might be asked to take a photograph of yourself. You might be asked even to provide a proof of address. All right. And with that proof of address, you can use either utility bill, for example. That is an acceptable documentation when it comes to KYC compliance. And then for the proof of address, you can use any one of your utility bills. In fact, in some cases, the regulatory authorities have given us the leeway to use your driver's license as a proof of address. But there's a little caveat there. If you use your driver's license as a proof of address, you need to get a second form of photo verification. So if you use your driver's license, you will now need to get perhaps a passport or a social security card as your ID, because you're now using your driver's license as proof of address. Now, a lot of time people ask you, why is this important? Why do you need to know my power, my nene, what time my dog died, and all of that? I mean, these are critical stuff that enable the credit union movement to prevent identity theft, to prevent money laundering, to prevent financial fraud and other financial crimes. And if we are found non-compliant as a movement, we can be fined by the regulatory authorities. So it is important that we understand why is it necessary for us to be compliant, and and um, and why is it necessary that we have to report on these things. Now, remember we talked earlier about the whole aspect of AML and KYC. So AML on one part deals with the prevention of money laundering and terrorism financing. And KYC, on the other part, look at establishing customer risk factors and preventing fraud. So we want to understand how is it that these two come into play to help us to verify the customers, or in our case, a member's identity. So the critical question you'll be asking yourself is, okay, who needs KYC? And essentially for us, as per the regulation, any institution, any financial institution, be it a bank, be it a credit union, be it a broker, be it a financial a technology application like MLAJA, for example. That is why you'll see on MLAJA, if you need to become a merchant, you have to provide all of these information. If you download the app, you have to provide what we call a basic KYC, where you provide your name, date of birth, and all of that. And then there's an upgrade to the app, which leads you to the silver level, where you provide additional information like your government ID, your address, email address, and so forth. So it's important that you upgrade. So it is not only because the financial institution wants to know your business, but they have to know it because they have to know with whom they're doing business. And it helps them. It also helps you to protect not only your account and your information, but also it helps the institution to remain compliant. And quickly, I look at two things. One, what triggers the KYC? So, for example, something can trigger KYC relating to, for example, unusual transaction activities. Remember, we mentioned earlier about there might be a surge in transactions coming into your account. They would want to know why is that happening, because you remember at the time of signing up, you would have stated, okay, I expect to do about $200 to $300 in business a month, and then all of a sudden they're seeing thousands of dollars coming in and out of your account. So this is a cause for concern. And then there might be new information changes from the member. You might have changed your address, you might have changed your occupation, which has led to an increase in the economic financial activity. You might have added new partners to your account, you might have had new clients in business. So these are some of the things that would help trigger this KYC, and you'll find your credit union might call you and ask you, could you come in and update your records or something like that? All right. So these are some of the things that we look at. Now, three components of KYC, and we're going to pick up on this on our next program, because a lot of persons have been asking us about, this whole thing about KYC, know your customer. Remember, I said it is not KFC, it is KYC, know your customer. So we look at customer identification program, which for example, it says, is the member who they say they are, or is the customer who they say they are? And then we also look at customer due diligence. And what does the customer due diligence speak about? It speaks about the level of risk that is attracted to that customer and the beneficial owners of that account or that company. All right. And then the third aspect of KYC is continuous monitoring. So the financial institution over time will ensure that your account complies to what you said it was going to be doing. So if you said, I'm going to do an average $10,000 a month, and all of a sudden you're doing 100,000, they might call you and ask you, hey, what has changed from the time you started to now? And you might say, hey, I have a new client, I started a new line of business, I got promoted, and all of these things. And it will help your financial institution understand better. All right. So we're out of time, but we're not out of material. So what we're going to do next week, we're going to continue our discussion on KYC, know your customer. We're going to let you know, why is it important? Why is it necessary? Who is required to provide KYC? And why is it now, at this time, that it's become so important for credit union, financial institutions, banks, mobile wallets, including Mlaja, to remain compliant? All right. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for the radio listeners of Q95 that join us, the radio listeners of DBS Radio, and to our very own Emo News. Thank you for connecting. We also have all of our Facebook listening audience from our credit unions page joining live. Thank you very much for joining the broadcast again. This was another edition that was brought to you with a kind compliment of the Dominica Cooperative Societies League Limited in collaboration with the Credit Unions of Dominica and Mlaja Mobile Wallet. So until then, I want you to stay safe, stay focused. Remember to exercise and protect yourself from this COVID, all right? And so next Tuesday, same time, same place, we'll be discussing a little bit more about this whole KYC thing and what is this fat F and the mutual evaluation that we're going to be having in August. And why is it so important to the financial institutions of Dominica to ensure that we are compliant? All right. So thank you very much for joining the broadcast. Until then, Dominica World, good morning.